Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Who's ready for a podcast?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh no, that's y'all ready.
I was like, fuck. Y'all ready to pod? That's going to be our entrance to the Vancouver Fan Expo.
Not for a panel, just when we walk in the room.
I think Kyle, like, I remember Kyle Clark telling me one time that like they were at like a convention or something and they just started recording it in like an empty room and people started coming in.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Right? I mean, Fan Expo's coming out.
I'm not doing that.
I know.
Yeah.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Oh yeah, baby.
This episode's theme is kind of like the two of us. It's a strange couple.
Okay, interesting.
You're a little bit of an odd couple, you and I, you know?
Yeah, before we do that, I do think it's important that we talk about the news.
Oh, that's behind a paywall.
Really? We moved that to Patreon? No, not that news.
Oh.
I meant like comic news.
Oh, we've got news to talk about?
Are you fucking kidding me? You living under a rock? Is something happening with you right now?
Only one way to find out. Subscribe to our Patreon.
James Gunn
Oh, that thing.
announced.
Is that really relevant?
I'm not joking when I say this is the most important thing in your life.
What else could be more important?
So I need you to fucking pay attention. James Gunn announced the first kind of 10 parts of, it's not even the entire like 10-year or like kind of 10-year plan for DC Studios. It's just kind of a portion of it is what he said. So this includes animation and TV and movies, all of which are connected. So first off, he said that DC will still have kind of Elseworlds thing. Like there's still going to be the sequel to the Joker movie. There's going to be another Matt Reeves Batman. You know, like stuff like that is sort of a Elseworlds. The Teen Titans Go. That's still happening. That's an Elseworlds thing. But they're going to connect in like a main DC continuity. Movies, TV, animation. Kind of a wild lineup. It includes an animated Creature Commandos.
Wow.
A Waller TV show.
Yeah, which that's
still
cool.
with Viola Davis.
Oh, it's a live action, yeah.
And this was an interesting thing that came up as he also talked about, there's stuff that's already coming out, right? Like Shazam, The Flash.
Yeah.
Blue
they
Beetle,
really are not backing
Blue
out from
Beetle,
that,
and Aquaman 2
are
all this year.
Yeah.
And they're all still coming out. And as part of this thing, James Gunn basically said, The Flash will change some things, but not all things.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean? Aquaman comes out after the Flash. Does that mean Momoa is still Aquaman? Does it mean Blue Beetle gets to be part of this cool new thing? I hope so. But part of it is Viola Davis is staying as Waller. So there's that Waller TV show.
Yeah.
And then he called like that, like sort of transitioning to what will be the start of like kind of the new era of the DCU, which is a Superman movie called Superman Legacy. And they're invoking a lot of imagery from All-Star Superman, which I don't want to read into it too much, but like I know Gunn had posted that he was reading it.
Yeah.
I fucking
how incredible would that be? Yeah.
Then they talked about HBO Max Lanterns show.
Yeah.
With Hal and John investigating like some sort of terrestrial crime.
But this isn't the core show that we were supposed to get.
Well, I
think that's done.
I imagine that has now become this.
Okay.
Okay. But them investigating something, and whatever they're investigating is tied to the bigger
yes,
whatever's happening. Then there's well, I might get this slightly out of order, so forgive me, but The Authority is getting a movie. Apollo, Midnighter, Jack Hawksmoor, the engineer.
I've got so much fucking Authority to read. I've got so much.
So they're getting a movie, which is very interesting. And Gunn was very specific in saying this team is going to interact with like your regular DC characters. Like they're part of the continuity, but like they're often, doing their
I mean,
own thing.
they have interacted, but it's still not like a main continuity thing that we ever really get that much. Maybe Midnighter.
More than any.
Sure,
but yes, for the most part, you don't really see too many of the other ones. But so that's interesting. I'm gonna fuck some of this up order wise, so forgive me. A movie called Brave and the Bold, which is a Batman and Robin movie. But it's Bruce and Damian.
When was the last time we got a Batman and Robin? It was
Batman and Robin.
Crazy. Which was what?
90? 97, 96, 97.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Could
people
you be cool, bird boy.
People have been so afraid of Robin for so long.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that we don't even have to do the fucking rigmarole of like Batman as one solo movie.
Yes.
Then we'll bring Robin in.
Yes. And it's got to be Dick Grayson.
Because even Matt Reeves was saying he'd want to bring like Bat Family in, but it's still like we need one solo Batman. So Brave and the Bold. Again, we're already invoking a lot of Morrison.
Yeah.
Between All-Star Superman, The Authority,
Brave and the Bold.
I mean, frankly, the artwork they used when they were talking about lanterns was from Earth One.
Oh,
which is interesting.
Holy shit!
I don't know how much to read into that.
Sure,
but I do find it interesting. There's that. Then there's also going to be a show called Paradise Lost.
Hell yeah!
About the Amazons, like
so
set on Themyscira. I think,
love that
and stuff like that, which is very interesting. I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm wondering why you're not bringing it up.
It's just because I'm not thinking of it. You say whatever it is, I'm not.
Booster Gold
show. Sorry, that was the one. Thank you. Your boy.
That's why.
Getting a TV show, time travel adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, your boy Booster Gold.
The thing that I've been saying would be such a good show,
and that's why I hope Blue Beetle sticks around.
Yeah,
because Cord stuff is supposed to be in that movie.
So it's not. Is that Jaime?
It's a Jaime movie, but he's supposed to be around. If it's like the comics, like Jaime, you're Blue Beetle, and every once in a while Ted bobs in.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, do you need any help?
That would be cool.
It's kind of fun. Sorry, that is in there.
Yes,
maybe before the Batman thing.
Yeah.
And then the whole this bit ends with a Swamp Thing movie.
Crazy.
And the rumor that I had read, James Gunn might in the interim refute this online.
Sure.
But the rumor I had read is that they might be trying to get James Mangold, the guy that did Logan.
Oh, wow!
For Swamp Thing.
That would be incredible.
Would be fucking sick.
Hell yeah.
At any rate, though, it's just weird characters that never get the spotlight, some staple things, getting a Superman that's at all based on
I wonder what
Silver Age positive all-star Superman kind of vibe. Amazing.
Gunn's taking on Superman?
He's writing it.
Yes.
I don't think he's directing.
Is he directing anything?
I don't well, maybe Waller.
Yeah.
Because the Waller show is supposed to involve Team Peacemaker.
Okay.
A bit. But I other than that, I don't really know.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah.
And what of all that is animated?
Creature Commandos.
Yeah. Is that the only thing?
Maybe just that.
Okay.
I imagine though that there's going to be Elseworlds. They'll probably still be maybe Harley Quinn will keep going.
Sure. Yeah.
Shit like that. But
that show's been pretty well reviewed and.
Yeah, I think also from the image that they put up for Creature Commandos, it looks like maybe the Weasel is in there.
Really? From
Suicide Squad, which would be kind of fun.
That's awesome.
I love the idea that we're getting the creepy magic corner, that we get some celestial space stuff, that we get God, the whole phase or whatever is called Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea of that is the thing that DC is built on.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. What's the difference between DC and Marvel? And we always come back to this idea of mythos and gods and deities.
Yeah.
You can have the sort of Zack Snyder version of that where we make this really melodramatic.
Yeah, we're all very upset
about it. Or you
about
just
it.
do this. Yeah. We just be we should start with these kind of big high concept things, and then we can filter in the other stuff. We're going to have time travel, space, gods,
Incredible.
magic,
Incredible.
creepy crawlies,
What more could you want?
everything in there.
Love
I'm
that.
very excited. We'll wait and see as it comes out if it works or not.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have no reason not to be pumped for this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stoked.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, why don't we get into this week's theme?
Sure, let's do it.
Strange couplings.
Yeah, talking about like weird romances, odd pairings, and that sort of thing in the DC universe. Because there's lots of iconic couples,
Yeah. What are these lesser known ones?
but there's always weird one. I don't know that we ever got a question about this, for this one, but we've definitely talked about it before. This Superman and Lori Lamaris, the mermaid,
Oh, yeah. Weird.
part of his long like LL obsession.
Yes.
LL Cool J.
Whoa. Roll
Watch
that
out,
one pant leg.
Superman's coming to date you.
Yeah. Something like a phenomena.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I was like, can I pull one out?
I wouldn't have gotten there.
It's, those moments.
It's like LL Cool J is so famous. I should be able to.
Here's what's crazy. This is what I assume it's like when you get like a computer in your brain or something.
Yeah.
And, you see that in the movies and people are like, how did I know that?
Yeah.
That's what that moment was where I'm like, I don't know why.
I know Kung Fu.
That's because I'm always like, how would you be surprised by having information in your brain? But what just happened to me right there is exactly what happened. The words came out and I was like, how did I pull that out?
I'm picturing like the Inside Out emotions,
Yes.
like, running around, like going through books, and they're like, something like a phenomenon. Send it upstairs.
That's what it felt like. Like there was no me thinking about it. It just came out. All right, we got so many questions.
Yeah,
let's get into them.
let's do it.
Let's start in Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
First question comes from Ryan the Putney.
Putney on Ukraine.
Yeah, Putney just right outside of place that maybe I shouldn't be.
I just slowly creep knee across border.
That's right. Ryan Putney asks, what weird pairings have you come across that you found to work better than they should?
Oh, interesting. I really like one. I think this was from like early Rebirth era Nightwing.
Yeah.
But it was Nightwing and a character called the Defacer. She was like basically like a vandal, essentially. She would like deface things. But part of that whole arc was that Nightwing had moved to Bloodhaven, and there was this kind of group of like not very dangerous criminals that were sort of seeking rehabilitation. Defacer among them.
Okay.
And just the idea that like Nightwing, member of the Bat family, starts dating I know Batman does it all the time, but you know what I mean? Like there was I don't know. I liked Defacer, and I actually thought they had like a good, interesting relationship that I sort of would have wanted to see more done with. But obviously that's all in the past now. He's with Babs right now and all this stuff. And Defacer will get lost in the annals of time between Corey and Barbara.
Yeah.
But I liked that one. That's definitely one that comes to mind. Weird romance, weird character pairs. Is there one that you've come across? Even in like animation or stuff like that. One where you're like, that's like, I don't get that. Or
I mean, only stuff that like isn't that weird because of how often it happens. But like we're talking about like JLI, like Adam and Black Adam, like Black Adam and the Atom.
Well, no, that's just friends.
That's weird. It's a weird.
Oh yeah, I guess I think I was more structuring this around like romance weird pairings.
Oh,
because it's February.
Yeah, but that's normal.
It's normal. You're right. It's normal February.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I overstepped the brief. I mean, you're right. That's a weird friendship for sure.
I think like if you're talking about romance, I think that
I'll throw one out there that doesn't actually exist, but I think I'd rather it exist.
Sure,
is Snowberry.
Oh, sure.
The ship that never was.
Yeah.
On the Flash, I think Grant Gustin and Danielle Panabaker have amazing chemistry. Like even in early seasons, even in the later seasons, like I want I want Caitlin Snow and Barry Allen to be together on that show so much more than I want him with Iris.
I mean,
and that's not
also
that is not Candace Patton's fault.
It's the writing.
It's the writing. They give her fucking nothing. But like
100%.
I really like them together.
I do too.
I even liked him and Patty, the other detective
Patty,
in season 2 or
Patty.
season 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
Patty was great too. I liked her, but yeah, that's one I'd throw out there.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Any others for you?
Not that come to mind particularly.
I don't think this is that weird, but it is maybe slightly controversial. I don't think I want it to ever be like a full thing, but I like the idea of Batman and Wonder Woman kind of dancing around each other. Maybe it never happens.
I didn't like it,
but I like the idea that maybe they like maybe they're both thinking it. Maybe it can never work. Maybe they never even like, you know, share a moment or like a real like coupling or anything like that. But I like the idea that they're in each other's orbit and that there's a thing there that's sort of like unspoken, understood in another life. This could have been a thing. And I think that's a thing I like kind of in the King run of Batman is that sort of comes in a little bit. I don't hate Wonder Bat shipping.
I didn't like the
into it.
Superman and Wonder Woman stuff, at least in the animated movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little weird. That was definitely like I mean, it's not exclusive to the New 52, but it's a New 52 thing. Although it's also in Injustice. There's like a few places that attempt it. It's not my favorite either.
Yeah, it just feels weird to me. I
hate it outright in the New 52, but it definitely doesn't feel right because you go like, but Lois. It's not even so much about Steve. Like, Steve Trevor's kind of like, I don't know, Wonder Woman could probably do better, but Lois.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, next question comes from Stephen Marion Almagro. Stephen, hello.
Oh, buenos noches.
When you look so good, Alma grow a little in the pants.
Jesus.
Come on, fuck you. That is good.
Good Lord. This is pretty funny.
Thank you. That's all I need.
I'm going to say something to you right now that I know is going to go to your head, and I'm going to regret having said it to you. With your hair, and your glasses, and I mean, the beard is too long, but the general face shape, you're kind of giving me Pedro Pascal a little bit.
Oh my God.
At any rate.
Oh my God.
You can have that.
I'm going to take it. I fucking love it. Shaves his face tonight. Stephen Marion Almagro asks, please talk about Punch and Julie.
Yeah, Punch and Julie are kind of like Harlequin style characters that are like Charlton Comics characters.
Ooh.
They come from I think they're Captain Atom villains.
Okay.
But they're kind of like, they dress like court jesters. Like they have that kind of
like
look about
Joker-y kind of like.
More like Harley, but yes, like that idea, right? Like having like the hat with the thing.
Sure,
like
yeah,
that kind of bullshit. Yeah. But they're a couple and they like do crimes together, sort of like Bonnie and Clyde, kind of like.
Sure, yeah. I got kind of.
I think there's been that sort of interpretation put on them too, where like the doing the crime
sure
gets them going.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that's a more modern,
like that couple from like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I think that's a more modern kind of lens put on it. But Punch and Julie have that. I think Punch had like shoes that could walk on air. Like he had like kind of gadgety gimmick things. I can't remember what Julie had. I don't think they had powers, but essentially they were a romantic couple who were villains and foes of, I believe, Captain Atom. Yeah, that's Punch and Julie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not much seen of them?
Oh, God, no. I mean, like, Punch and Julie, the most recent thing they would have appeared in is, well, I don't know if they've made a cameo in a comic or something, but I'm thinking of the animated Suicide Squad Hell to Pay.
Sure.
They're in that.
Nice.
In the beginning. They're they're on the squad there.
All right. Well, let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
I thought you were gonna drink. It's the only reason why I was trying to help you out. Dude, the look you just gave me.
I'm calm.
I was trying to be a friend.
I'm calm.
I'm gonna calm.
I'm gonna calm.
It's calm, man.
Oh man, just a bucket of relaxation drops from the sky.
Yeah, you fucking downward facing dog into it. I'm gonna calm.
I love how rich the lore of our show is.
Yeah,
it's a really intricate tapestry.
it's like the Resident Evil 4 guy from the. How did this get played? So
That's
good.
very funny.
All right. First question from Twitter comes from Truth, Justice, and Hope, who asks, I've always thought that Matrix Supergirl falling instantly in love with Lex Jr. was suspicious. Do you think the Pocket Universe Lex programmed Matrix to be in love with him when he created her?
So there's a few things happening.
Yeah.
There. First of all, post-crisis, there was a Pocket Universe in which there was a world without Superman.
Okay.
But there was a Lex Luthor, and there's like an invasion or something happens.
Sure.
And he creates out of this sort of like protoplasm, he creates what he calls a Supergirl.
Okay.
But at first she looks more like Lana.
Oh.
She eventually gets blonde hair, stuff like that. Calls her Supergirl. She helps. She can't stop the invasion. She goes to the main universe to get Superman to help. Mm-hmm. Superman helps, but that world is destroyed. Like he stops the thing, but the world's destroyed. And he brings this, like it was called like a protoplasm matrix or something. So he brings this Matrix Supergirl to his Earth. And this was like, I think this was the workaround because post-crisis, the idea was like Superman is the last son of Krypton.
Yeah.
Not going to have a bunch of fucking supers everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what that meant is like, then you get these, like, Superboy isn't him anymore.
Yeah.
It's a clone of him.
Yeah.
Matrix Supergirl isn't
Supergirl.
It's this
computer,
protoplasm thing. It's like, you still end up with these characters just with, like, worse origins.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't say that about Con-El. He's his own character now, but still. So Matrix Supergirl ends up on our world.
Yeah.
And then she meets Lex Luthor, who is posing as his own son, Lex Luthor Jr.
Yes.
If you've ever seen the comics where like Luthor has hair and a beard,
Yes.
that's him posing as his own son. And she falls in love with him. They have like a relationship. It makes the public uneasy because then it kind of looks like she's just like Lex's puppet.
Oh yeah.
All this sort of thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it sounds
It's weird on a few levels.
creepy.
And the level that I don't think enough people talk about is it's weird on the level that Lex hates Superman.
Yeah.
He's posing as his own son and he's like, and this is a super and I
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know, we make fun of Superman for working through some LL shit, but like Lex is working through something too.
So do you think that he programmed Matrix to be in love with him?
That's tough. It's been a while since I've read this, so I can't remember if the Lex on the parallel Earth was also like evil.
Sure.
Or if because it was a world without Superman, he was more benevolent. Like that's the bit I can't remember.
Sure.
And that's really the linchpin there.
Yeah.
If he's anything like our Lex, I'd say he probably did.
Yikes.
But if he's not, then no, I think it's probably a lot more genuine, a lot less, which would in turn make it less weird that she falls for Lex on like the main world.
All right.
The whole thing's very odd though. It has got like early 90s. It's like It's weird, man.
I know. All you could say to Matrix Supergirl is, "You're in my world now."
Also because Lex has like the weirdest beard. Like it's not a full beard. It's just
it's
just the chinner.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, you with your ginger chin strap." It's like a real edgelord strip. Like, you're in my. Oh my god,
This is what I mean.
We are in his world now. Holy shit.
Okay.
Oh my god, we cracked this wide open.
I know. We cracked the code.
Yeah.
In the Matrix.
Calm.
All right. Next question comes from Bray Don, registered trademark The Soapy Donkey, who asks, what would marriage counseling look like for Hawkman and Hawkgirl? Would the two remember past quirks and quarrelsome habits from past lives? Imagine forgetting your anniversary when you have remarried several times over thousands of years. Yikes.
Yeah. Tough question to answer because who knows what marriage counseling is like.
All I know is it doesn't work. No.
You made my joke so much sadder. you piece of shit.
Remember, I was born into it, molded by it.
Yeah, holy shit. Jesus. I mean, the interesting thing with Hawkman and Hawkgirl is that they don't always remember everything.
Yeah.
The Venditti run did kind of have an unlocking of their past lives.
Yeah.
And that's also the one that like kind of fixes their continuity and everything. So we kind of got to go by that.
Sure. Even the aliens.
There are Hawkman stories that do kind of deal with the idea of like, are we just together because we're supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing with Kendra Saunders with Hawkgirl. Hawk, you know, like the designations now is like Shaira is Hawkwoman.
Yeah.
Kendra is Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Hawkgirl and Kendra is that she's like, I'm my own person.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's probably thousands of versions of us that have gotten together, but I'm my own person. I'm not just going to be with you because it's the thing that happens.
It was interesting the way they dealt with it in like the Flash
Legends?
and Legends. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of that in there. You know, in pre-Flashpoint, Kendra does kind of come around and have a bit of a moment, although it's sort of under duress with the Black Lanterns like attacking and stuff like that. But you know, Kendra in the post Flashpoint universe and like post Rebirth, I guess. Like she's with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
You know, like that's her romantic relationship there. And Shaira is also exists at the same time because now that we've solved that they reincarnate at random through time and space, now we have both.
Yep.
And it kind of solves that fate problem a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, which is interesting.
It does kind of go like, does soulmates not exist in the DCU? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, it is funny that there are these kind of like I do think that this happens in all writing. It's not exclusive to DC, but DC has lots of examples of just there are characters with like a gravity well. And sometimes that's just the publication history.
Yeah.
Catwoman and Batman have been doing this dance a long time, so they're always going to come back into each other's orbit.
totally.
Even if there's a thing with Talia here, or there's a thing with Silver State Cloud over here, or Vicky Vale or whatever, it's always going to come back to Selena. And that's kind of like the weight of history and storytelling and stuff like that coming to bear. And then there's also the in-universe stuff. We know Hawkman and Hawkwoman are together.
Yeah.
Their bodies were in the Star Sapphire Central Power Battery. Yeah. Like they are love.
Yes.
That's like what that story is saying, you know? Like there was a gateway made of all their bones from every life. And
nice.
Shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like all their bones.
Every time they did
every fuck
Yeah.
is in this gate.
Every time they boned down.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like there's an in-universe there, gravity, that is like, yeah, maybe Hawkgirl has a Green Lantern thing, you know, in the cartoon, or maybe with Martian Manhunter, but there's always this kind of like something about them veers back to each other. Mm-hmm. I find that interesting. I do think it's different than the idea of soulmates. Mm-hmm. So to bring it back to the question and the marriage counseling thing, it's probably like having to sit down with people who are obviously good complements for each other, but that doesn't necessarily equal getting along perfectly. But if anything, it might be that you push each other's buttons, but you're the thing the other person needs. I do think a lot of like iconic DC romances are about the kind of like literal like the puzzle piece thing, filling in the missing pieces, right? What does Selena bring to Bruce, and what does Bruce bring to Selena? What gaps do they? I'm trying to not say what gaps do they fill in each other. But, you know what I mean? Like something to that effect, though, right? Like I think a lot of romances in DC are like that.
Yeah.
Guy Gardner and Ice, you know, like I think there's lots of ones that kind of feel that way, where it's like there's a friction and like a resistance there, but it's just because you're kind of like fighting this thing that actually might fix is the wrong word, but might fix you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that classic Batman thing of like, I can't be Batman if I'm happy.
Sure, yeah.
Why do they not get married? It's just because he's being an asshole. But that's him even admitting we're perfect.
Yeah.
You know, like that's...
So do you think that like in this...
I guess a lot of the marriage counseling would be like, why are you guys always self-sabotaging these relationships?
But like... Isn't the idea that it's the same people? So like they wouldn't have like multitudes of habits and like quirks and stuff, right? Because they end up becoming the same people.
Yeah, for Hawkman and Hawkwoman. Yeah, I mean, the Venditti run really does lean into that. You know, like Qatar All, his Kryptonian lifetime, is also like an archaeologist, a historian.
Yeah.
They're not always, though, because there's the Carlos Salon is like a plague doctor version of him from that era. So they're not always exactly the same. But I do think you're right that because they're dealing with a reincarnation thing,
right? Like
there's ultimately they must have generally
the same
similar personalities or views or things like that, which in the
because like Hawkman has some strong
it's
views.
Maybe not necessarily so much that they remember quirks from past lives, but it's more like we've been through 70 lives and you still haven't fixed this.
Yes. Yes, yeah, because
you still leave the garbage out.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
It's maybe more of a like a digging in your heels kind of thing.
Sure, yes,
which is kind of funny.
Okay, good. So, look, you can have all the carrots that you want. Those are John's peas.
He's back.
That's right, baby.
He's back, baby.
One of my favorite joke is...
I can't wait until you like forget what this drop is and you go like, well, there was Nathan Celery and now...
One of my favorite jokes that like is very stupid, which is Rick Astley will lend you any Disney movie you want, but he's never going to give you up.
Yeah. Well, that's the Astley paradox.
Yeah.
Because he'll never give you up, but that will let you down.
Yeah. So, John Spees asks, since we're getting them in a movie, can you talk about Apollo and Midnighter's relationship?
Right. So, The Authority.
That's right.
We talked about this at the beginning.
I called The Authority. Authority always wins.
Apollo. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Gunn is even like in the room while that's being edited, that's a needle drop.
Yeah, obviously.
I thought the authority always wins.
The authority always wins. It's a joke, it's a young man and not come up but now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Apollo and Midnighter.
Yeah.
I mean, one of, certainly before kind of recent years,
gay couple.
One of the most prominent gay couples of comics. So, important thing to remember about The Authority is they started as Wildstorm characters, which were their own thing and then their own imprint at DC. They were not in the same universe until Flashpoint. And that brought them into the main DC continuity. So, In Wildstorm,
Yeah.
Apollo is a Superman riff.
Oh, that's right.
He's a solar powered, indestructible god being.
Yeah.
And Midnighter is a Batman riff. He's a hyper violent, leather clad guy that wins every fight.
Yeah.
There's differences. Apollo is not an alien from a distant world.
Yes.
Midnighter has a computer in his brain that calculates the outcome of fights.
Yeah.
So that's how he can always win. He also has like a healing factor and stuff like that. And they're on this team called the Authority. But Apollo and Midnighter are like, I don't want to read too much into it, but I don't know if they're like the release valve on people's like built up Superman, Batman, like just kiss already sort of like,
oh, sure.
thing. If it was like, what if Superman and Batman did kiss already?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that is deliberate or it's just because them as you know, Superman and Batman have an interesting friendship, and a friendship that does operate the same way I was describing romances in the last question, which is, you know, Batman can temper Superman's optimism.
Sure.
Superman is maybe too prone to think things will work out or people will be their best selves. It's also the thing we need Superman to do. But Batman is good at reminding him to just be prepared. Superman, on the other hand, is good for Batman not to spiral into the dark, that sometimes people can surprise you and be good, show you their kindness, even in unlikely circumstances and things like that. To have like that kind of emotional connection between them and then take it to the next level with Apollo and Midnighter, turn it into actual romance, I think is brilliant, especially because Midnighter takes all of that kind of anger and violence and stuff about Batman, and that's dialed up with that character. And the one place that he gets to be vulnerable and sweet and kind of balance out the rage and the hate is with Apollo.
Sure.
I think it's like a really beautiful relationship, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing it on screen. I think that's gonna be cool as hell. I hope it's not like they get together at the end of the movie, like just have them be together
the whole thing
like in the, you know what I mean? But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
but
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Mosaic Comics. Well, that guy.
Back again.
They always come back for more.
Yeah.
Who asks, what romance has resulted in the most unfortunate in-laws? Would Sinestro show up at Kyle's apartment for Thanksgiving dinner if Soranak asked him to?
Right. So Soranik Natu is a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
She's also a physician, like a medic, like a doctor.
Hello.
She is Sinestro's daughter.
Oh.
So what Mosaic Comics is pitching here is guess who's coming to dinner.
I mean,
or I guess inverse, because it's not Kyle going there.
Yeah.
But it's essentially it's that sort of thing, but with Korrigar and Earth.
So what are some
actually
other ones?
I actually do think Sinestro would. First of all, I do think he would show up that way because I think he would like. I think a very petty subset of being like a master of fear is watching people squirm in discomfort.
Oh yeah,
and so I think he would definitely come for Thanksgiving just for that. I think that would amuse him, and it's sort of like I'll walk among mortals just to see how their petty lives kind of
totally
amuse me.
Some other potentially unfortunate in-laws, maybe Raish and Batman. Yeah,
I mean, such an unfortunate one. In the animated series, Raish couldn't use the Lazarus Pit anymore. This is in Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Couldn't use the Lazarus Pit anymore, and so transferred his essence into Talia. Then pretended to be Talia, hook up with Bruce to make him use the Lazarus Pit to get young so that he could take over his body.
Jesus.
So Ra's al Ghul was like, well, I'm my daughter. Maybe I'll hook up with Bruce.
That's so weird.
There's a few weird things there. I mean, that's a sort of nightmare in-law for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about Superman and Wonder Woman from the New 52.
Sure.
And there was a kind of thing in the Superman Wonder Woman book that they had together.
Yeah.
where it was like Superman like meeting the Olympian gods.
That's funny.
And then like Apollo like looking down on him or whatever. And Apollo,
like, you think you're a god? Like,
well, he kind of does do that, and he like hits Superman with like an energy blast, and Superman's like, so you don't really know that much about me, do you? Like, I'm powered by the sun.
yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
But like they're kind of like snooty, like bad, like you dare touch a half Olympian,
Sure, yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah, they're bad in-laws. Who else would be bad in-laws? Oh,
a lot of dead parents out there.
yikes.
I'm just thinking, I'm like going through the roster, and I'm like, well, they're dead. Oh, they're dead.
Well, yeah, I mean that's certainly part.
They're dead.
That's definitely part of it.
They're from a different time.
That's tough,
right?
I don't know. I mean, other than just naming villains or like villains that have kids.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can think of like bad in-laws where the bad is more than just like, and they're a bad guy.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, because I think
God, how good was that fucking Spider-Man movie though? Where
that scene is so good. I think that's like exactly the sort of shit that this question is posing, right?
Yeah.
Like the Michael Keaton, like, fuck,
that's so goddamn good.
I'll kill you.
Yeah.
There you go. Show her a good time, but not too good.
So good. Ugh.
I just saved your life. Say thank you. Oh, that's such a good scene. Like I rewatched that movie not too long ago. And I got chills. I was like,
it's
holy shit.
It's incredible.
It's. I think it's the best scene in any of those Spider-Man.
I mean,
movies.
it's a travesty how bad that last one was.
Movie.
Not the last one, but the one before that. Sorry.
Oh, No Way.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry. Far From Home.
Far From Home. I fucking hated that movie so much.
It's fine. It certainly doesn't hold up next to Homecoming and.
Well, it's just like, what's the thing you like about Spider-Man? Let's take him to a not a city in Europe. It's like,
yeah. Again, other than not knowing, like. Other than being a villain, I don't know that I can think of another one, but certainly I think Sinestro is an interesting one.
Totally.
Sinestro does kind of have this like he's trying to always trying to maintain or cultivate some relationship with Soranik, but then it's also like, can he just manipulate? Like you're never sure how sincere he's being about it, and I think that makes for an uncomfortable sort of relationship.
Totally. All right, next question comes from our favorite religious representative,
Chris Chan,
the one and only. Were any of these weird dalliances to continue to marriage, which, if any of them, would be considered legal? Keep in mind age, consent, gender, number of persons, definition of what is a person, etc.
Well, I mean, the definition of what is a person, I think, immediately counts a bunch of people. And we're not even talking about weird romances like Superman.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? Martian Manhunter, Red Tornado.
Yes.
Case might be made for Aquaman, but there's always Atlantean law. Like, they're their own nation, so his marriage is fine there. But they did get married on land, so I don't know if, like, that's just more of a symbolic ceremony. It's like when you go get married on the beach, but you don't fill out the paperwork. You got to go back to Atlantean City Hall and actually do the official shit later. When it comes to the definition of a person thing, I think like, your androids, your robots, your aliens are immediately counted out. It might get slightly more complicated with your people who are or were people.
Sure.
For example, and they didn't, this question is not asking the people who are married. It's saying if any relationships got to that point. The New 52 has a relationship between Deadman, Boston Brand, the ghost that possesses people, and Dove, Dawn Granger.
Oh, okay.
Of Hawk and Dove.
Weird.
And she's alive.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Does he possess her?
No. But like...
Possess her heart.
Whoa. But like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, it presents the question of like, what are your post-mortem rights in a world where you can exist post-mortem?
Yes, yeah. That's weird.
And like, what do you have to do to prove that you're still like? Because other people are just dead and they go to hell. How do you prove your existence? Most people can't see Boston Brand, right? We've talked about it before. How I think like the rule of law basically can't exist in a world with superheroes.
Well, like
in a world where people can brainwash you, alter your memories, change reality, or whatever, how can you ever prove like actual culpability?
Yeah.
Or intent or malice or any of those things that you normally need, right?
Like Raven,
Raven is half demon.
Yeah,
she's only half demon.
Also,
but she's born in Azarath, so she's not an American citizen.
Yes, but then age brings into play.
Yeah, but but are we just saying like, well, teen characters can't get married? It's like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Or if maybe a adult villain comes into play.
Yeah, I hesitate to call Slade and Tara a relationship. I don't think I want to weigh into that. But an example is like Stargirl and Captain Marvel.
Sure.
So this is pre-Flashpoint. Courtney and Billy have a thing, but the rest of the JSA see it developing because they see him as Captain Marvel. They don't necessarily. I don't know if it's that they didn't know he was a kid. That must be it. But or maybe they just think it's weird anyway. That like him as an adult with the wisdom of Solomon is like, that teenager's pretty neat. Even if he says Shazam and Billy, it still means that like an adult is like courting.
Yeah,
like that's weird.
It's so weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Bad.
What about the Metal Men lady?
Platinum.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, their sentience is even in question sometimes. Like, are they truly that was the whole point of the latest Metal Men book, the one that Didio wrote on his like way out of DC, was people posing the question like, are they sentient or did you program them to be this way?
And then program her to want
and
to
in that case, you programmed her to love you and then you
deny her? Yeah.
Like, there's a lot. There's layers to that shit too, but from a legal perspective, the Metal Men don't exist.
Yeah.
They're not people. They're property. They're
where's Picard?
Because you could take the responsometer out and put it in a different vat of platinum and make another one. Like, there's no like.
Yeah.
Not that that's a definition of humanity either, but you know what I mean. Like they're things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what were some of the other like parameters. We've messed around with age. We've messed around with like status as a person,
number of persons.
Oh,
like multiple.
Right.
Multiple.
I can't think of a good example. Well, I hesitate to call this a polyamorous relationship because I don't think it was ever a true romantic triangle.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's interesting relationship between Swamp Thing, Alec Holland.
Oh, sure.
Abby Arcane.
Yeah.
And John Constantine.
Well, and depending on the version,
because Swamp Thing also like uses Constantine to get Abby pregnant.
But also, what version of Swamp Thing are you talking about? If it's just like plants, does that count even in this scenario?
There's that. It's plants that think they're Alec, and then they kind of possess John to impregnate
Jesus.
Abby.
So
but then John and Abby also had a thing. Abby and Alec have, or the plants that think they're Alec have a thing.
Yeah.
But there's never really like a John connection. Like, theoretically, though, that is a fucked up kind of polycule.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I have a hard time imagining that the court will be like, do you, this man, you, this woman, and you, this ficus, agree to marry each other? It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
There's a bunch of examples of some fucked up shit.
Sure. What did you look up?
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram. Take some questions and answer them.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah. Sweet.
Ooh, let's get ready for questions.
First question comes from the Little Pasty, who asks, Aricia Rab, Hal Jordan. Fucking, we're past the fucking Green Lantern episode. Stop making me do all these weird alien names. Hal Jordan, make it make sense.
Yeah, it's famously only alien names you have a hard time with.
And there's a few countries. Let's start talking about them.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite bits right now on TikTok is the 1975s thing where they have. There's been this thing that the 1975 does, which is
yes, I've seen that.
The lead singer, like in one song, he's like this song starts when the band starts, so he's like I have no real control when this song starts, so at any point they could just start the song and cut me off.
And then he starts saying,
and then he'll just be like, he's like, now this might sound racist, but when the song starts,
the band starts playing, and he pretends to get mad at them.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Sorry. So
Aricia Robb,
yeah,
and Hal Jordan,
yeah.
So you've probably seen Aricia in like some animated stuff or whatever.
Probably.
She's like a blonde Green Lantern that has like a green skirt and a white top.
Sure.
It's sort of
yeah,
like
yeah.
orangey kind of skin.
Totally.
Aricia is like, God, how did this work? Hal calls her like little sister a bunch, like in the old Silver Age and Bronze Age, like, come on, little sister. Like they have that kind of thing, and then she gets like sort of artificially aged up, or it's like on her planet she's an adult, but really she's like, I can't remember precisely what it is. Like she's 30 Earth years old, but she's like a child on her planet. It's like some shit like that. And Hal's like, does this
nice
count? You know what I mean? Like. It's weird, but at some point she gets like artificially aged up, either one way or the other. Because I misremember.
You have told me about this.
And then Hal is like, "Cool, I know I've been calling you sister a lot, but that's I'm just a shitty guy. And, I just didn't want to be friend zoned." Yeah, and then they get together, and it's also weird and uncomfortable and bad. I think.
Yeah,
you have the whole universe.
Yeah.
The whole universe.
Uh-huh.
You're Hal goddamn Jordan.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
You got it. She's a kid.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not good.
He's a bad guy.
Yep.
Jesus.
It's like when people end up like hooking up with a kid that they babysit. Like later on when they're like of age.
Listen, I still think it's weird, but like, you know, if a 40-year-old and a 20-year-old are dating, cool.
Yeah.
But when there's that connection where it's
like,
I remember you as a child.
Yeah.
It feels like the fucking Commodore Norrington shit
this is
from
what
the
I mean.
Pirates movie where it's like, hello, 8-year-old, one day I'll bang you.
Yes.
Like,
so fucked up.
It's really fucked up.
All right, next question from Dim Jinkies, who asks, so what's the deal with Bruce Timm shipping Bruce and Barbara so hard?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
So, in Batman Beyond...
Yeah.
I think it's in Batman Beyond. Barbara Gordon is the commissioner.
Yes.
She makes some kind of reference to having a history with Bruce beyond just having been Batgirl.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact setup of it. But then, in a comic, in a tie-in comic that's set in the animated series, there's a bit where Batgirl says to Bruce, I'm 7 weeks pregnant or whatever. And he goes, I'll have to say congrats to Dick. And she goes, he's only been back for 4.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's weird. And then in the animated version of Killing Joke they have her and Batman hook up on a roof. Now, here's the thing. Some of that I think Tim is involved in or implicated, but I don't think Killing Joke is part of that.
Oh, okay.
There's some. I mean, I'm really pulling this out of my ass, but there's some quote that I saw from Bruce Timm that was like, yeah, like these are my characters. I don't really follow everything people, I mean, his characters, but his versions, I don't really follow everything people do with them. I might not agree with it, but, blah, blah, blah. Something to the, like, you've tried to distance himself from the Barbara and Bruce thing. But it's in there, like, in continuity, whether it's Bruce Timm or not, it's in there that, like, Barbara and Bruce have a thing, and it's uncomfortable and bad.
Yeah. We don't like it.
Yeah. No, we absolutely do not.
No. Next question comes from Dan Hummer, 97.
Yeah, give her the old Dan Hummer.
That's right. 97 times.
Holy shit.
One night. You won't last 24 hours.
You won't last 97 Dan Hummers.
Different podcast. All right.
Oh yeah.
This is what happens. You gotta watch. You gotta listen to both.
I totally forgot.
I don't care if you don't like Supernatural. You gotta listen to both.
Every episode's a crossover.
Yeah, that's right. Every content counts. All right. It's all in continuity.
Yeah, I'm glad that. Yeah.
Do you think the tarantula / Nightwing thing could have worked minus the sexual assault? And what are your thoughts on her as a character?
Tarantula. Her name is.
She's got legs that go on forever.
Hey, do those legs go all the way to your thorax?
When I'm done with you, you're gonna have a thorax.
It was his birthday, so now I have a thorax. Good Lord. So Tarantula, Catalina Flores, is like an assassin vigilante.
Okay.
And in the 90s, 2000s run of Nightwing, she kind of helps Nightwing as he's fighting Blockbuster and stuff like that. But essentially, Blockbuster pushes Nightwing to the edge because Blockbuster knows who he is and is like going after like people in his personal life and stuff like that. And sort of at a critical moment, Tarantula kills Blockbuster and Nightwing does not stop her.
Okay.
He lets it happen. And then, of course, the guilt of that starts driving him nuts. And at some point in that guilt trip, I don't know if I can't remember if it's like that he's like catatonic or that it's a moment like, it's not just a moment of weakness. Something is like happened that he's like not in possession of his faculties. And Tarantula rapes him.
Yeah.
Yep. It happens. And it's really bad. It's gross.
What are your thoughts on her as a character?
I mean, it's hard to come back from that.
Right?
I liked the stuff leading up. Like, I liked the idea of like, Batman has lots of characters like this. It's like someone who like is on just the other side of the law. Maybe your goals align, or maybe you could pull them back from the dark. Like, and even just the idea that like Nightwing had a failure there. Like, there's so much interesting stuff there. You didn't need this because I don't think anything came of it. Like, I don't think she had. Someone's going to correct me, but I don't think she had a kid.
Yeah.
Not that would justify it. Like, it would all be worth it if there was a kid. But like, there isn't even like the lame excuse for like, well, we did it because we wanted this arc about the whatever. Like his own Talia thing happened to like. I don't think they even do that. So it's like, why did you do this? Why is that? You could have just as easily been like, it's a moment of weakness, and then he consented to it, and he could feel bad about hooking up with the person he let kill Black. But like, you could still do almost all the beats of the story without that.
Totally.
So I don't know. I feel like that's kind of gross. I think it's hard for that character to bounce back from that. I mean, or it displays something that character, you don't really hear too much of a Tarantula. Tarantula's not around a lot, but there's a lot of Slade books. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That probably says something too.
Yeah.
we don't want to, admit as a society or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Ben Forrest Stewart.
Oh, lock the door if you're coming in.
That's right. You're the man now, Hoge.
What? Hoge?
Aldous Hoge.
Oh, I see. You're You're the Hawk now, Hodge.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Nightwing and Harley Quinn in Batman and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Good Lord, why?
This is another kind of Bruce Timm joint. And again, this might have been one that he was distancing himself from slightly. So in this animated movie,
yeah,
Batman and Nightwing, for a reason I can't remember, team up with or recruit Harley Quinn to help them. I think it's with Poison Ivy.
Sure, that makes sense.
Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing and something with the green, and she's got this big plan, and they need Harley.
Sure.
And at one point, Harley has captured Nightwing, and he's tied to the bed, and she's like trying to pick an outfit. So she's like in her underwear or whatever, and she turns around, and she has some sort of like, "Oh boy, Wonder, all grown up," kind of like thing, and he says, "Don't even think about it," and then he looks right at her ass, and then. He vaguely consents, but they have sex.
She like jumps on him, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, they play it off as like a, "Oops, I slipped and I hooked up with a supervillain," but like he's tied up. Like it's.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you were like, he jumps on him, and I was like, okay, that's fun. Like,
yeah, except that like they play it
Tying
off.
up.
They play it off like he's like, "Great, and yeah, it happened. Silly me." But like he's tied up when it starts.
okay.
It's not great.
Yeah, no, I don't love that. Yeah.
I don't even hate the idea of Nightwing and Harley hooking up.
Yeah, it's less
I
about
just don't like the setup. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And bad.
Yeah.
But I don't even hate the idea of Harley being. I mean, it's weird for her to say a thing like "Boy Wonder, all grown up,"
Yeah.
or whatever. Like
Because that suggests
that's
there's
that shit again.
Yeah.
The Aricia kind of shit.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't hate the coupling. I don't like how it happened.
Agreed.
Gross.
All right. Last question from Instagram comes from Multi Sanchez, who asks, "How do you feel about Guy Gardner and Ice?"
It's funny to talk about them in the context of this because, like, that is the couple. Like, that's Guy Gardner's. The one is Ice.
Oh, okay.
That's not like a random side thing, but we all know Guy is meant to be with insert name.
Sure. Yeah.
It's Guy Gardner and Ice. They're the couple, but they are a weird one because
It is a weird couple.
Because Ice is so like soft spoken and like in so many comics she's like the meek one, right? And then Fire is like the vivacious sort of like
Of course.
extrovert. That was the whole gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
Guy is so brash and such a piece of shit and all of this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
she's so sweet and everything. But I do think it is the opportunity to see the softer side of Guy Gardner. I do think there is a kind of sweetness about them together.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it, even though in my head I'm like, I'm not 100% sure that I think she's getting the best deal here.
Sure.
I do think that like she is like a person that would see the nugget of good in there and want to nurture it and stuff like that, and who maybe understands that all of the shittier elements of Guy's personality are actually like they come from pain and trauma and bad things happening to him and shitty family and all this. I think she understands that. It does feel on a certain level like it's great that you understand that, and someone needs to help people. But like, are you just doing therapy for them? Like, is this an actual relationship for you? And that's, I think, in there sometimes. But I should hate it more, but I don't. It's like one of the things I actually kind of like about Guy Gardner is the relationship with Ice.
All right. Well, with that, let's leave Instagram and heading over to the doc scored.
Oh, where I have a song.
That's right.
Ready.
Yeah. The thing that you do every single week. And you've got so much time to prepare for it.
I've planned for it.
Okay. And that song is.
There's Doc scored on my sweater already. Doc's scored Getty.
I mean, I don't hate it. It's not bad. I don't hate it. You've had worse. You've certainly had worse. Yep. No, keep going now.
I'm a change with Doc scored rage. Tear this motherfucking Doc scored like two dogs caged. I was scored in the beginning, but Doc's all changed. I've been doxed out and scored and booed off Docs.
I like that you said two
but
dogs
I kept Docs
caged.
and scored right in the next Doc scored.
I love that you said two dogs caged, but not two docs scored.
Fuck.
No, fuck, no.
I'm gonna come.
Gong. All right. First question from the doc scored comes from Which Devil Sorcerer, who asks, which character is the least faithful?
Ooh.
Catwoman?
I don't think that's a Catwoman problem. I
Arrow?
was going to throw up the three-way tie of Dick Grayson, Hal Jordan, Oliver Queen.
Sure, yeah. I would see Oliver Queen.
I defy someone to this would be a good Alex Jaffe question. Like, comb the comics.
Yeah.
Who has cheated more times than one of those three?
Yeah.
And I think you'd be hard pressed.
Sure.
I mean, even just the number of times Dick has flip-flopped between Corey and Barbara.
Sure, yeah.
And then, let alone the fact that there's all sorts of side shit with Dick Grayson, too.
Yeah.
You know? Oliver Queen had a real run in the 90s there of making bad decisions, hooking up with people and getting wrapped up with eco-terrorists and blowing up in a plane.
Yep.
Hal Jordan, notorious cosmic scumbag. Although, here's the question. I don't know how many times Hal Jordan has cheated.
Yes.
I'm in a relationship,
but
I'm not. Hal Jordan dallies
sure.
a lot.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
Big question mark, though, about Hal Jordan cheating. Oliver Queen, Dick Grayson, absolutely on that list. Hal Jordan is maybe gets away with it. Trying to think. What's another character?
Any ladies? Does Ivy didn't she kiss to like?
But that's not cheating. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, there's emotional cheating.
No, there's not. Insane hot take for me to throw out there.
Good. I guess I'll go for another dinner with Brian.
I know you're just saying that to hurt me. No, but what I mean is
we are actually starting a podcast together.
The one thing I told you not to do.
We absolutely look. I tried, but he said all the right things.
You spineless piece of shit.
I won't co-host. I'm just going to produce it. It's not going to mean anything.
Oh, yeah, it's so much better because you're not looking him in the eye.
It's a good idea.
I really thought that necklace in your pocket was for me. All I got was this Joni Mitchell album.
That's not a necklace in my pocket.
I was trying to make a Love Actually reference.
Oh, I thought you were doing
I'm Emma Thompson.
Yes.
You Alan Rickman piece of shit. What I was trying to say about Ivy
Oh, sorry.
is that I don't think she actually cheats.
Sure.
Her power, yeah, there's the kind of seductress thing,
Yeah.
but I don't think she's I'm in a very committed relationship and I'm about to.
Sure.
I don't think there's a lot of that happening.
There's no killer female players.
I must be blanking. There must be one.
Yeah.
It's the cheating part though. It can't just be that you're
No, I know.
freewheeling or
Unfaithful,
whatever.
yeah,
There's that extra layer to it, and that's the bit I'm getting hung up on. So I'm sure there's one. Someone will probably correct me.
Totally.
If they do,
Our fans?
I'll throw it up on Twitter or whatever. But for me, it's Dick or Ollie.
Yeah. Also, Jaffe, tell us which one cheats the most.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from
Who the fuck is Brian? Tell me about the podcast you're going to do.
It's like a history podcast.
Is it? Oh yeah. Is it good for you?
Yeah.
How's the podcast, Richard?
Well, he has this lore that you don't have. We started talking about comic books, and then it just got into podcasting.
I mean, it's a betrayal on so many levels. You told me on the day of the James Gunn announcement that you were going to go talk about it with this Brian.
Yeah.
Now you're starting a podcast, and you don't even put it in the fucking news for this episode to talk about it with me, you piece of shit.
To be honest,
you know what? I don't want your sloppy news fucking seconds.
To be honest, I stopped thinking about the news when I make these notes. Nobody cares about the news section.
I'm gonna kill Brian. I feel like during Personal Confessions January on the Patreon, I said something to the effect of like, I don't know that I have it in me to murder.
That's changed.
But it's normal February, and I'm about to normalize a violent response.
Oh my. He's doubling down. Siege the box asks.
I'm gonna siege Brian.
He's a very handsome man.
Great. That's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure he is.
It's a nice change.
Hashtag last year of the podcast.
Yeah. No.
You've made your bed. Now lie in it.
With Brian.
Yeah.
Siege the box asks, so Supergirl dated a horse?
Oh yeah.
What?
She did.
Just from the waist down?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And his name was Brian. Actually, it was.
Was it?
No, sorry. His name was like Byron.
Oh, close enough. Close enough.
That's the funniest shit in the world. So pre-crisis, Comet the Super Horse.
Yeah.
Isn't from Krypton.
No.
He's a centaur.
Sure.
Who Circe. He helps Circe, and she's like, "Oh, I'll turn you full human," but she gives him the wrong potion or some shit. He goes full horse.
You never go full horse.
You never go full horse.
Yeah.
And then he's like outcast by the gods to like a asteroid.
Sure.
And then Supergirl's ship passes by it and I don't know, drags him to Earth or something spacey waysy. And he has all of these powers because he's imbued with like magic from the gods and stuff like that. And eventually like a wizard or some shit manages to turn him human, but it only works when like a comet is passing by nearby. Mm-hmm. So there's these windows of time where he turns into a human and Supergirl falls in love with him.
Wow.
And like they date and he's her boyfriend and then he becomes a horse again.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Supergirl dated a horse.
She's still fucking.
I mean, she also dated fucking Luthor. So
there. Do you know why ponies can't talk?
Oh, because my dick's in their
Jesus. I was going to say because they're a little whores.
Yeah, you bet they are.
After I'm done with it.
Jesus Christ.
Good God. But this is Brian, by the way.
Fuck, he's handsome.
He's a good looking guy.
How did you meet?
Through a friend.
Oh.
Multiple friends.
Where did you go?
We went to the sheep camp.
Oh, you've never brought me there.
That's a nice little cocktail bar. It's actually very nice.
Oh, yeah. You never go there with me.
It's kind of my new place now. They've got beef dip sandwiches that are really good.
Yeah. I bet you were trying to dip your beef in Brian.
We ate pierogies together.
I gotta say,
yeah,
it's a really great name to be indignant with. Brian.
It's a good one. Yeah. Next question comes from Butt Fart Butt. Butt Fart Butt said some nice things to me the other day, and it said that I call them Butt Heart Butt.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I was happy about that one.
Yeah, I'm glad that he gets to see a nice, warmer, kinder side of you.
Babs and Jason in Three Jokers. Who thought that was a good idea?
I think this is a weird one.
Yeah.
I think it's the Batgirl on the doc scored.
Yes.
Really likes the Babs and Jason.
Oh, okay.
thing. I think it's even implied in the Arkham games that there's a Babs and Jason thing.
Huh.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in Three Jokers, it's in there. I'm not sure where it came from or why it's part of that story. It doesn't like make me angry. I don't hate it, but I don't know. It kind of feels to me like, well, and here's the girl in the Bat family. Everybody like,
Sure.
when you're like 13 and you have your group of friends, and slowly but surely every guy in the group of friends asks every girl out.
Sure.
And you're kind of like, okay, so all of us are bad at this, and we've all taken the wrong lessons from this.
Sure,
and
yeah.
we're making them feel like crap. Because we're all just like taking our turn asking. We're just like throwing darts at the wall.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like.
Sure.
To me, is being like, well, I mean, they're on a case together, and she's a woman.
Yeah, what else would happen?
Like it just doesn't feel very motivated.
Yeah.
That's not to say I don't think there can be a thing there, but I also don't think there needs to be. I think Jason has enough like other romance, like I like Jason and Artemis together. I think that worked for me in Red Hood and the Outlaws. I dig that one.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably other ones that would work too, but yeah, I don't know. I like Jason and Ravager on Titans.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, that's great.
That was a good pairing.
That was a great parent.
I don't know that Jason and Babs is a thing I'd like want to see more of.
No. Next question comes from Only Just Dan, who asks,
Yeah, can Brian fucking sing too?
no, he also can't sing. You keep setting me up. I'm going to keep knocking you down.
Yeah, well, you seem to have a real itchy trigger finger on the self-destruct relationships button this year.
Wow, somebody's now you're bringing up the somebody's really starting to react.
Yeah, I'm hurt.
Hurt people
And
hurt people.
Yeah, I'm saying things in anger.
Dan Dunn asks,
Let's go back to that marriage counseling question.
maybe that's a good idea. No, I told you again, it doesn't work. Do Shift and Indigo have the strangest sex scene in DC? If not them, then who does?
So we talked about Shift last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we talked about transmutation.
Sure.
Shift is like the piece of metamorpho that then had its own life. There's a sex scene, they posted when they asked this question. Indigo is like a robot, like an android kind of thing.
Okay.
And Shift is like a shifting mass of like molecules and gases. And they have a sex scene that is about as weird looking as you'd think. Like someone walks in on them, you just see like he's like a cloud and she's like a robot.
Oh,
it's
weird.
a little weird. I don't think it's the weirdest one.
What about that tentacle sex scene where Superman and Batman watch?
There's the tentacles that fuck each other into space.
Yeah.
There's also, we talked about it when we had Steve Orlando on the show. There's the Martian sex scene in his Martian Manhunter run.
Oh.
Where they just shape shift into each other. And he described it as like watching like a taffy in a candy machine. Like the pulling.
Sure, yeah. Lots of
just
pulling.
It's just shapes and like blending. And they have like, they're psychically merging as well. Like that's like sex on another level.
Yeah.
I think Brian can't do.
You don't know what Brian can do. Look at that face. You know, he could do a lot.
Do you know what? I'm going to hit you where it hurts. I'm going to take Brian from you. Imagine I co-host his podcast that you just produce.
Yeah, we've seen where that goes.
It'll be different this time.
Another handsome man that doesn't produce a lot.
God, it'll be different this time.
You come crawling back like you always do.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we always know that we could just clean house 75 episodes in.
Keep bringing up these fucking rapscallion hotties, and then they always just disappear.
Can't believe you would do this to me. After all I've given you.
Next question from Yokro, who asks, Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 42, the romance of Super Baby and Baby Lois.
Oh, yeah.
Want to talk about
like
that?
a Muppet Babies adventure where they get married, I think.
What?
I wanted to reread this before this episode. I didn't get a chance to.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure that is like them as babies have a romance adventure. Weird. And I got to imagine that the context is like Lois, that ditzy dame daydreaming about marrying Superman.
Sure, yeah.
It's an imaginary tale.
Sure, yeah.
It's probably some stupid bullshit like
Fair.
that. I wish I could have reread it before this episode. I just didn't get around to it.
Okay, next question. Oh, this is a very not this theme, but is a sweet question from the Batgirl, who asks, who is the perfect DC couple? Like the one that could live happily ever after?
Oh.
Is it?
I mean, before today, I might have said me and you.
What about Dibney?
Ralph and Sue.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's way up there. I think Superman and Lois
Sure.
have proven themselves. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Ralph and Sue.
Yep.
Clark and Lois are way up there. The perfect couple. I think Oliver and Dinah.
Really? Even though he's like a philanderer?
But here's the thing, he was.
Oh.
But I don't think in the last 15 years of comics there's been even a wisp of that.
Sure.
He's a full-on wife guy.
Well.
And I mean, I would be too. Fucking Black Canary. Sorry. And you know, I'd put Ollie and Dinah in that conversation. Scott and Barda are in that conversation. Arthur and Mira.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are kind of your I actually don't think I would put the Hawks in there.
No.
Because too much of their story feels like it's fated. And I don't think they put enough effort into showing you
they're just true love.
Or to show you that like they make it happen.
Yeah.
Like that would be the most romantic version of that. Is that there is no
destiny.
There is no they're not actually fated to be together. That there are whole lives where they never meet each other. But in the lives where they do, they make it happen.
Yeah.
And like that's the most romantic shit in the world.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they don't put enough effort into that.
Because they're just like, well, they have no choice. Yeah, of course they love each other.
And I just think because we're always talking about reincarnating, it bends that way. And I don't think it's writers being lazy. I think no one's taken the extra step. Or not enough people have taken the extra step to make that a real part of their myth.
Totally. Next question from Mullet Overlord, who asks, do you think that Kyle Rayner's insistence only dating women with superpowers after Alex is caused by his guilt over how that ended, or is it simply a byproduct of his lifestyle?
Yeah, so Major Force kills Kyle's girlfriend, Alex DeWitt. This is the women in refrigerators.
Yes.
He kills her and stuffs her broken body into Kyle's refrigerator. After that point, in no particular order, Kyle has dated Donna Troy, Jade, Sornik Natu, Carol Ferris, Princess Callista.
Sure.
I'm obviously missing some, but he's been around. They all have powers. I'm willing to bet somewhere in that Kyle Rayner run, there's a sort of thing about like, either he says it like interior, like sort of subconsciously, like maybe I know that these women could look after themselves. They won't end up in a refrigerator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm positive he's said that somewhere, but I tend to think it's about the circumstances.
Yeah.
Like Kyle's day job is being an artist. It's not even like he really like goes in. Like Clark and Lois meet at work. He doesn't meet her as Superman.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I mean, he kind of does because he's saving her fucking life all the time. But you know what I mean? Like they meet in both worlds. Kyle meets people mostly as a superhero, I find, generally. And so that tends to be the sphere that he's in and operating in. So I think it's like an occupational hazard slightly. It's like having a showmance in theater or something like that.
Sure.
You know?
I know all about those.
I do.
I mean, I know you do.
I mean, you said it. You're saying that with so much stank on it. It's very innocent. Sometimes.
It's
Sometimes less so. Sometimes dangerous.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes in the carpentry shop.
Sometimes in between scenes.
Yeah. On a table saw.
Yep.
That I'm pretty sure wasn't plugged in.
Subscribe to our Patreon to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in some episode, whatever.
Let's listen to the last question from Tone DX 2049, who asks, what is y'all's favorite or most intriguing, weird, odd, short-lived romance? Or what do you feel makes a good relationship in the DC universe?
I want you to answer those.
What makes a good relationship?
In the DC universe.
Oh.
Like of comic characters.
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not asking you what makes a good relationship.
Why? What could possibly...
That was too stanky even for me. I went harder than I wanted to there. Whoa, the Brian thing's a joke.
Ooh. Having to remind yourself.
Yeah. You're too in the bit.
Yeah. I can't get out. It's very funny. Anyways, I think that from everything that I have seen, the clear thing is like that there's a delineation between like their superhero life and their personal life, and when they have like a clear home life with whoever this character is, that they tend to have a stronger relationship. Like you look at Sue and Ralph, like you look at like Black Canary and Oliver, like you're looking at people who like separate those moments, and I think that's always really key. I mean, I think that's why I never really loved the Catwoman Batman thing, because I never really felt like it.
I mean, they're famously bad at the work-life balance.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah, and so that's why I always have a hard time with that. I think that Superman is the king of that separation, and even though she knows, they still have a really clear delineation. So I think like that's always the really key. Like.
Now, I know there's examples of both, but what do you prefer? Do you prefer, like, soups with soups? Not necessarily about powers, but, like, heroes with heroes or heroes with, like, civvies?
Heroes with civvies. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a lot more fun.
You like the Ralph and Sue or the Soups and Lois.
Yeah. I do like that because I think it like humanizes them a bit more because like they're like, oh, I still have to like participate in like a normal human life.
Yeah.
And I
flash an iris.
Yeah. It's like I still have to like I have to like go take the kids to school and like I always really like that side of it because it's like it also is like just good as like a reflecting on like regular people's lives, which is like, you have this crazy other life, but then you have to like go home and like change the way that you're acting to be able to like participate in a real relationship and not be so self-involved. And I think like that's such a problem with superheroes. It's like when you have unlimited power, it's like you become so self-absorbed.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Animal Man. Like
love that
super wife, his kids get wrapped up in it. One of them dies.
Yikes.
But,
So what about your favorite like short-lived or like weird?
Well, like I said at the top, I liked Nightwing and Defacer.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with Nightwing and Babs. I feel like I said it on a different episode. That my thing is, I feel like Nightwing and Barbara are like meant to be together.
Yeah.
but I feel like narratively he should end up with Corey.
Oh.
Something should get in the way of him and Barbara.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, I'm describing like a if in porn search terms you would look up ruined.
Jesus.
I'm describing something like that, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's something in my head that it's like it doesn't just work because it's
Sure.
supposed to.
Sure.
And I feel like Corey and Dick, I don't know, maybe they're not the best fit, but they could make it happen. And like so many future things have like they have a kid. I can't think of one offhand, a future, like a possible future that we see where it's him and Barbara.
Yeah.
I think that him and Barbara, like, and they maybe have greater potential to remain friends and not be together than him and Corey. And maybe that's part of my thinking there too. But I did like Nightwing and Defacer. Weird one. What's a good weird one? Shit. I mean, I mentioned it just in the last question, and I talked about it when we did our talk on like our episode on the Vega system.
Yeah.
I like Kyle Rayner and Princess Callista of the Omega Men.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a bit I really like of that Omega Men series, the Tom King Omega Men series. I think that's a really interesting one. I mean, there's a lot happening in that book. Kyle's going through a lot, but it ends up being kind of a sham relationship. But when it's not, I was kind of into it.
Yeah.
I liked that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was the last question. If you would like to send us a question for next week's episode.
Oh yeah, next week's episode we're doing another Charlton Comics episode.
Wow.
We're gonna have a special guest, and we're gonna talk Charlton Comics.
Hey.
Days.
Wow, it's been a while.
Just trying to remind you of the better days.
I'm actually going to start working out with Brian on Wednesdays too. We're going to lift weights together.
Who the fuck is Brian? Where the fuck did he come from?
From heaven, I think.
What is this like season 4 out of character bullshit happening in our lives?
It's a lot longer than that.
I guess we're going by years. Yeah.
Well, you can send those questions about Charlton Comics to our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Send us an email.
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
You can send us a subreddit.
Or a message on the subreddit r/Dr_DC.
That's the thing I was going to say.
That's it.
The doc phone is open.
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU.
If you're nasty.
We got a TikTok.
At Dr. DC.
There's nothing on there. We've got a website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
There's some stuff on there. You can give us a 5-star review and we will read it on a future episode of the podcast. If it's not on Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called now, it's or on Facebook or something like that, we won't get a notification. So take a screenshot and send it to us. Also, we have a place where you can get some more content from us and slide a few shekels down our throat.
Jesus. Patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1, $5, $7 level. They all give you access to the Discord, our awesome Discord fan community. And at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, you get theme pulls, all sorts of fun stuff. It's normal February.
That's right. Don't you want us to stay at nice hotels? Keep subscribing.
Yeah, normal February.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to Fan Expo.
That's
We
right.
talked about it on the Patreon, but I don't think we talked about it on the main feed.
That's right.
We're going to Fan Expo again.
Vancouver. Fan
That's going to be
Expo.
fun. We're going to record some episodes down there. I'm sure it'll have the same chaos energy as those episodes did last year.
Absolutely, if not
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll find out on the flight that Brian's coming too. He has the seat between us.
Who would make him sit there? Brian's an aisle guy.
Well, that's fine because I'm a window guy.
Oh, good.
Guess you'll just have to Mrs. Doubtfire yourself between us.
Also, we've got a whole other podcast.
Yeah, well, I only have one other podcast. It's Ghostfacers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We talk about real world monster lore, behind the scenes stuff about the show. We're most of the way through season 6 right now. And yeah, it's a fun time. Go check that out.
Yeah, and look forward to my and Brian podcast coming soon.
No, look forward to my and Brian podcast coming soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Adios.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.